From my side, a couple of things that we're going to run through today. The first thing has to do with selections, and then secondly, that will be followed by our polar snaps as advertised. That I'm going to show you is a selection preview. Drawing, you want to select objects, and often you select the wrong object. Instead of a wall, it selects a window, etc. So in Caddie 19, we now have built in, under your settings, selected, highlighted, marked and virtual objects. You have hover or virtual settings. On that tab, there's a tick box where you can highlight object when no command is active. Simply by switching that on, you can also choose the thickened, whether the preview should be thickened and what color it should be. As you can see, mine is currently set as orange. What that means is, on clicking OK, simply by hovering over objects, it will select or highlight the objects that it will be selecting as soon as you click. So you can easily now just see which objects will be selected before you click the mouse physically. The other option that we've got is, especially if you have a busy drawing where you've got lots of objects and you often select the wrong object. Once again, settings, selected, highlighted, marked and virtual objects. You'll see there's an option where you can show a selection dialog. So I'll be showing you what that does. Show selection dialog, switching that on, clicking on OK. Your mouse, it still highlights the objects, but if you should click in any particular area, it will now pop up a little dialog box which indicates certain objects in the vicinity of the mouse cursor. And as you move through them, you can see now it selects the one wall, the block reference, the other AEC wall, the AEC window, all the objects or nothing. So if you want to select the block, for instance, you just go to block reference, click on there, and then the block reference is selected. So that helps you a lot, especially in larger drawings, very busy drawings, where you can select certain objects without indicating the wrong or selecting the wrong one. So I'm just going to switch that off for now. Selection dialog switched off, so it won't be showing us that in the future again. Right, what we're now going to get to is now the first thing I'm going to show you in drawing or using polar snaps is the ability to draw walls. Now, as you can see on the drawing over here, I've got a little porch over here where we've got two columns that we want to draw. Now, those columns I'm going to create using AEC walls. I'm going to use a 110 brick wall with my origins being on the baseline, the height of the wall, etc. Once I click on OK, I'm now just going to start drawing a wall using normal auto snap. I'm going to zoom in for a bit more clarity. If I hold my mouse over this corner over here, that's where I want to start, so I'm snapping there. But as I move my mouse, you will see the direction. So for me to go to this corner over here, this intersection over here, I have to keep horizontal or use construction lines, etc. So in Caddie 19 now, we've got at the bottom in your status bar a polar snap setting, which I can switch on. And as you can see now, automatically it gives me 90-degree projections from the initial point that I've indicated. So I can now project it horizontally in this direction, but I can also hover over another point over there, and when I pull that cursor down, it gives me the apparent intersection of those two lines. So I can just click there, and go back, and your column is drawn. That is without using construction lines. I'm going to do the same at the top, drawing exactly the same wall. Start where you want the wall to start. Apparent intersection over there. Snap. Apparent intersection over there. Snap. And you've got two columns drawn without using any construction lines. And that is just so much easier and faster than we would have done before. The same drawing certain objects. I'm going to open this sample drawing that I'm going to show you. It's a very basic drawing. where we've got an addition that we want to put on over there. Goes up 2 meters, 2.8 meters to the right, and I'm going to try and achieve exactly the same over here. But as soon as you go to the 2.8 meters over there, you will see then it goes down, lining up with the screen wall over there. So, going back to my drawing, I'm going to create an AEC wall. Once again, in this case, a 220 brick wall. Indicate the start of the wall, so I click, I want it to start over there. Then we've got the projection over there. As soon as you see the projection going up vertically, I can just type the distance. So I can type 2 meters and follow that by pressing the enter key. And it will draw 2 meters in the projected direction. The same way I can go to my horizontal over here and type 2800, and press enter. The wall to go down so that it lines up with the screen wall over there. So once again, you've got the projection, but as I hover my mouse over the screen wall, that line is now projected to the left, where I can now just click horizontal, that internal wall, snap at the bottom, and you've got the wall drawn exactly as you wanted that in the sample drawing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that window that we've got, I'm going to make a copy of that window and simply just insert it into that top wall. Existing window, an AEC opening. Indicate the width. It has a head height or lintel height of 2125. It should start. As soon as it picks up more than one wall, it asks you to identify the wall in which you want to place it. So I indicate that wall, and the other side of the opening is over there. And it places an opening in that AEC wall. Now that opening, once again, if I click on that opening, I can go to its properties and simply just change its color, change its line style. The existing or the addition as we've had it in the sample drawing there as well. So that's how easy it is to use polar snaps to draw certain objects, whether it's line, AEC objects, or you simply want to project a point from any existing object. That's the easy way to do it. What I'm going to do now is going to show you here. On the right you will see there's a little gable of an elevation that you want to draw. On the left hand side, that's just the starting rectangle to show you that I'm going to use to create the same example or same sample. Now you will see your polar snaps normally works in 90-degree angles, and we've got a 30-degree angle in there as well. So how can I achieve something like that using the polar snaps? In this instance, I'm going to now draw polylines. So what I'm going to do is, once again, just by snapping or switching the polar snap off, when I draw a line, you will see it doesn't snap to any position. Snaps on, it will now snap to my 90-degree angles. We'll get to the settings of the polar snap shortly. So what I can do now is I can hover the mouse in the horizontal direction and just type the distance of 500. Press enter and the line is drawn in that direction. Now I want to go up 30 degrees, but as you can see, it's locked at 90 degrees, the polar snaps. So I want to add an additional angle of 30 degrees. Go to snap at the top. You can choose polar snap settings. Snap settings dialog box at the top. You can also enable your polar tracking, which is the same as the icon at the bottom there. So I'm going to leave it enabled. My default increment angle is 90, but I'm going to add a new angle of 30 degrees and another one of minus 30 degrees. Clockwise, anti-clockwise from your 0 in your Cartesian coordinate system. To that angle now also locks at 30 degrees. So using that in conjunction with your polar snaps, I can lock that at 30 degrees going up to that intersection over there. Once I click there, I can hold my mouse upwards, type 300, go across in that direction, go down 30 degrees, and then over there. And that is how simple it is to create a gable using polar snaps instead of using construction lines. Look at this example, you will see there's another horizontal line going across. That horizontal line starts where the apparent intersection is of the 30-degree line and the vertical line on the left-hand side. So how can we achieve that without using construction lines? Once again, using polar snaps in conjunction with line extension or extension snap. So I want that line to be drawn over there. Once I click on draw the line, where should it start over there? I have no idea where that should start. So how can I project that point onto this vertical side over here? In your snap modes, additional snap modes from the context sensitive menu, you will see there's also a new option called extension. Now extension, I can simply hover my mouse over a line or an intersection, and you will see it immediately projects from that line in exactly the same direction as the line itself. So using that in conjunction with your polar snaps, I can snap to that point, and it creates me the intersection point over there where I can snap to and simply just go across and snap to that side. So once again, all of that done using your polar snaps in conjunction with your line extension snap as well. Another example where you can use something like this. In this example, I've got two lines drawn. The first one is a gray line 5 meters long and a green line that is 3 meters long. If you want to extend that line that's currently 3 meters long to make it 5 meters long, you can simply select a line like that, and by using, without the polar snaps, by using your grip points in the past, you can move that line end to anywhere you like. But how can I keep that green line in the same direction? So once again, once I've chosen the grip point on that line, I can now go to my additional snap modes, go to my extension, simply hover my mouse over that line, and it now projects in the same line or direction as the line is. So because that line is currently 3 meters, it should be 5 meters. I can just type the additional value, which is 2 meters, press enter, and that line is now exactly 5 meters long. So you can also use the polar snaps and the line extension snap to project points or lines in a specific direction and to extend them. And last but not least, just to show you where else you can use line extensions, I've got a town planning layout over here where you have to do earth numbers. Number those earths going down from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Under text, we've got a command called copy and increment or copy and modify text, which means it will simply increase the value every time. Caddie will ask to indicate the text to copy and increment, so I click on the number 1. Will be increased by 1 every time, giving you a result of 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Once I click on OK, once again, no polar snaps. You now have to manually position it, which means all those stand numbers won't be aligned automatically. So using that in conjunction with the polar snap or polar tracking, it will now track at the angles that you've specified. So in this case, I'm going to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All you have to do is click where you want the line to be, and the polar tracking will automatically ensure that all the lines are aligned horizontally, neatly and nicely, without using construction lines or without even using the hold horizontal or hold vertical commands in Caddie. Basically concludes the session on polar snaps, tracking and snapping to the extension of lines. So with that, it's then over to Gerard Mostert again.